Good evening, my patriots. How y'all guys doing? Welcome to another edition of You Guessed It, Joel Davis Media Network. It's your host, Joel Davis. Before I get into what we have to talk about real quick for what we call the Joel Davis Media Network quick minutes, I want to give a shout out to my biggest fans for donating to help me and my family at this time at Give Send Go. I appreciate y'all so much. If you do want to give, you still can. You can go to givesendgo.com/davisfam. Again, givesendgo.com/davisfam. That will go towards trying to help us find a actual residence where we can quit couch surfing, because right now, due to economic constraints, that's where we at. But without that being said, let's jump into what is going on today. Now, the first things first, let's talk about the Biden administration. Oh my God, you can't make this up. So, yeah, today, the Biden administration posted a picture of the U.S. Soldiers with Biden during the meeting over in Israel without blacking out their faces. Now, yes, they hurried up and deleted, the White House did, but people are enraged because what did you just did? You just did a violation of national security, because now you have put these troops in harm's way, because we already know Hamas, Iran, and other terrorist groups that's working with them right now with the war against Israel. They're looking at any possible information that they could get the jump or put a dent in the war, right? Because they look at the U.S. and Israel as an enemy. So when you put a picture of these soldiers without being a scourge, you're basically saying, hey guys, I hope that your family is prepared to bury you. I'm just being honest. You're asking for them to be deleted immediately by the enemy. Now, we already know that if 45 was in control, this would have never happened. And we know if 45 would have done something like that, this would have been an all-out war. You would have heard it on MSNBC. You would have heard it on every liberal station possible. But you're not going to hear these liberals talk about what is going on with Biden, because that's their boy. That's their puppet. They're going to write it off as refer all your comments to the White House, like the Brigadier General said during the meeting being asked. Now, moving right along, let's talk about what the Biden administration are saying again about the war on Israel. Israel war with Hamas and Ukraine war with Russia. They're saying we need to support both countries. Now, I have something to say. I don't mind supporting Israel to an extent. Okay, I understand they're trying. They what happened in their country was horrible. It was a horrible attack. Lives were taken, but you know, give them a few. I guess billions to do what they got to do to get the jump, and that's it. But Ukraine, I'm tired of us supporting Ukraine. We have gave them $78 billion. Okay, Ukraine done got so bold with getting money from us that Zelensky don't even ask anymore. He just takes a plane, shows up to the White House, and be like, "Yo, I need more money." I feel like that Zelensky is our pimp, and we are the prostitute in the situation. You can't make this up. Now, at the end of the day, people are saying, oh, well, Ukraine, they're in a small country too, and this, that, and the third. Listen, man, I don't care what anybody says, but at the end of the day, we need to put America first. Our economy is tanking. Inflation up. We got wages up, but can't catch up with the cost of inflation. We got the housing market going through a horrible situation right now, where just a to get a house in today's market, and you got excellent credit, you're looking at 6 to 7%. I mean, what more do you need to know that we don't have time to support another country? We need to be focused on the U.S. of A. Now, you could take that $6 billion that you froze for Iran, you could throw it to Israel, call it a day. Tell Zelensky, look, bro, we done carried you as long as we can. We're done. We can't do it. Why you think these countries are going after all of these other countries that are allies or whatever have you, that's near us or have a relationship with us? Because they want our economy to tank, because we're dumb enough to jump in the fight and want to give these people all this money and manpower when we're again neglecting the US of A. I mean, make it make sense, bro. I'm sorry, but I cannot see how we're going to be able to support these folks and not hit a recession, hell, maybe a depression. Moving right along, let's talk about the former lawyer of Trump, Sidney Powell. They got her, guys. They got to her. They compromised old Sidney. Sidney now has pled guilty in the Georgia election interference case, and it gets worse. Sidney Powell, okay, not only pled guilty to 6 misdemeanor charges in Fulton County courthouse today. Okay, she's recommending a sentence of 6 years probation. She's got to pay $6,000 and an additional $2,700 in restitution payments. And guess what else she has to do? She's got to write an apology letter to the people of Georgia. And oh yeah, she's got to give a truthful testimony at any future hearings and trials relating to other defendants. You know what that means, right? That means that she has to basically turn coat. She can't say that she feel like that the election was possibly compromised, but we all got our opinions on that in the Georgia case, and I digress. I have to talk about that on the Patreon. But it is a sad day, because there's going to be more of these folks turning against Trump because they are trying to protect their livelihood. There's going to be a lot of them striking deals. There's going to be a lot of them going to go and always say, oh, I never said that. I mean, think about it. They're going to do everything they can to make their life a living boo-boo. And that's just what it is. Now, next up, we got to talk about our boy, Juicy Smollett. Oh my God. Y'all hit that like button while y'all see this, okay? Oh my God. So Juicy Smollett, aka Jussie Smollett, has entered rehab. Talking about he's trying to deal with life in a significant way. We already know why he's trying to deal with life, because after he told everybody that 2 white men in MAGA hats in the middle of Chicago beat him up after he was getting a sub sandwich from Subway, when in reality it was 2 Africans that beat him up, that was extras on the set of Empire, who wound up being one of them that he was allegedly having a sexual relationship with. And I have to say alleged because they said in the text messages there was some sexual explicit content, but The African guy deny, I don't know. But either way it goes, okay, dude now is taking an outpatient program. He's trying to rehabilitate himself. He's trying to handle life. I tell you how you can handle it, Jesse. Just tell the truth. Tell everybody that it was a hoax. You got sentenced. You played so fool. You got out of jail. You got all this and that done against you. Why won't you just tell the truth, brother? Just say, hey, I made it up. Okay? I was making it up. I wanted attention. And I thought this was the way to go. And I promise you, you'll feel better. But he's not going to do it because in his mind, he wants to prove to everybody that he was telling the truth in his sick, twisted, perverted mind. I mean, that's just what it is. I mean, he was sentenced to 150 days in jail and 30 months of felony probation. And then he had to pay $120,000. Speaking of hoax, we also got to talk about the hoax of the young black lady from, I want to say, Alabama. Give me 1 second here. Let me pull this up. I want to get her. I want to give y'all the truth on that one. And then we got one more we got to address. And then we're going to wrap it up. Okay, here we go. So let's talk about old Carly Russell. Now, Carly Russell, y'all remember her, right? The Alabama chick that busts out and said, "Oh my God, they they kidnapped me and I was abducted," and said all these lies, and come to find out that it was all a hoax. She was never kidnapped, never told anybody where she was at. Nobody never knew. Well, guess what? The Alabama judge has found Carly Russell for her own abduction in July, guilty of two misdemeanor charges. Russell pleaded not guilty to the charge of false reporting of an incident and false reporting to the law enforcement. Now, this what's up. So the state recommended 1 year in jail, 6 months for each charge. It's the maximum sentence. I'm cool with that. They also recommend Russell pay a fine of $831 and restitution of $17,974.88. Now, when they say restitution, that means that's the man hours and the resources they had to use to try to find her when she was probably chilling at somebody's house laughing the whole time. Now, this all happened on a July 13th. She called a 911 and said she seen a young child in the world on Interstate 459, mile marker 11 in Hoover. And then after that, that's when all of a sudden she lost contact. And then her Mercedes was running by the interstate. They couldn't find no child. She disappeared. I mean, things was going crazy. You had people offering $25,000 reward, or $5,000 being offered by Crime Stoppers. It was just, it even got up to 55,000. Then it got over to 63,000. You had 60 other donors. I mean, people were just going crazy trying to find her. And then 2 days later, on the 15th, she just showed up to the front door of her home in Hoover, and she shared with her parents like, "Hi, I'm home. Oh my God, I was kidnapped," and it wasn't even real. Okay. Couldn't find. Yeah, couldn't find out that it was all a lie.
And we'll take your case to trial if necessary to get you the most money possible. Whether it's a car, truck, service vehicle, or rideshare vehicle, all accidents impact you and your family. And Holston and Hunt understands your needs and stands by you all the way to get you the most money possible. Call Holston and Hunt at 678-667-8607 or visit holstonandhuntley.net.
Okay. All right, hold on.
Authorities in Alabama have now charged the woman at the center of a missing persons case that made national headlines with two misdemeanors. Police say Carly Russell.
I had to stop it. Sorry. So anyway, yeah, that what happened. And they took her to the hospital. She released back to her family. Um, she's traveled like 600 yards. Now they said before that she took a robe and a toilet paper from a job. Um, it was just crazy. Now, only 2 months after the arrest of Carly Russell, and there is already a movie about it ready for streaming on Prime Video. It's called The Nurse That Saw the Baby on the Highway. Now, it can be rented for $1.99 or bought for $4.99 for those featured in the quick turnaround feature. That's sad. That's sad. That's sad. Somebody done made a movie off of her being ridiculous. I'm glad that she getting held accountable because you just can't. You can't, man. You can't go out here and do stupid stuff and think that it's cool. Now, next up, we got to talk about the last young man, the dude that went to North Korea. All right, now what I just heard from that just came in recently that the guy that um got deserted that went to North Korea was a private, and his name was Travis King. Now, Travis King had some kind of episode. Nobody don't know what happened, but some odd reason he started acting weird, being crazy, act like he was gonna assault the I guess people that was guarding that border that separates South Korea and North Korea, and he got taken to North Korea prison. Now he stayed in that prison. I want to say about 2 months. I want to say it wasn't long, but they finally worked out a deal. He was able to be returned to the United States this month. Now he been detained since he been back by the U.S. military. Now, two officials said tonight that he is facing charges, including desertion, and guess what? You guessed it, possessing um lewd images of a child. God, so that's probably why he was running. That's probably why um um China took him, told him they can have him back. I mean, North Korea said y'all can have that fool. Now he got 8 counts against Travis King. They are detailing the charging documents seen by Associated Press, but the officials spoke to Associated Press on condition of anonymity because the charges have not been publicly announced. King's mother, Claudine Gates, said in a statement that her son should be afforded the presumption of innocence. She said, "A mother knows her son. I believe something happened to mine while he was deployed." Desertion is a serious charge and can result in imprisonment for as much as 3 years. Now, King, 23, again, like I said, he ran across the heavily fortified border from South Korea in July and became the first American detained in North Korea in 5 years. His sudden bolt into North Korea came after he had been released from a South Korean prison on July the 10th, where he had served nearly 2 months on assault charges. He was set to be sent to Fort Bliss, Texas, where he would have faced potential additional disciplinary actions and discharge. Officials said that King was taken to the airport and escorted as far as customs, but instead of getting on the plane, he left and later joined a civilian tour of the Korean border village of Panmunjom. He ran across the border, which is lined with guards and often crowded with tourists in the afternoon. After about 2 months, Pyongyang abruptly announced that it would expel him. He was flown to an Air Force base in Texas. At the time, officials said they don't not know exactly why North Korea decided to let King go, but suspected Pyongyang determined that as a low-ranking serviceman, he had no real value in terms of either leverage or information. While he was gone, Army leaders declared him absent without leave, opting to not consider him a deserter which is far more serious, by declaring king a deserter, the army would have to conclude that king left and intended to stay away permanently. In times of war, desertion can carry the death penalty. Service members can go AWOL for several days, but may return voluntarily. The punishment can include confinement in the brig, forfeit of pay, or dishonorable discharge, and it is largely based on how long they were away and whether they were apprehended or returned on their own. So I'm going to tell you about that. It's time for story time, right quick, about desertion. So before we go into too deep, people want to know what desertion is. So desertion in the military is when you decide that all of a sudden you don't want to serve your country, right? You don't want to be obligated to the contract of the military, so you just want to bounce out and go. You ain't put no leave papers, nothing. You want to do your own thing. Well, once you do that, you are considered AWOL once you haven't been seen. Some commands does it in 48 hours. Some do it in 72. It's causing, the command, the structure, whatever going on. Once you get AWOL, the AWOL status can go into desertion when you're out longer than 30 days without them hearing from you or locating you. Now, when you turn yourself in while AWOL or whatever, then let's talk about break time. Break time uh, in the army means, like a jail. You on what you call a very strict schedule. It's you ain't got no access to this and that, or you can only make a phone call a certain time of the day. Your freedom is really clipped. You could get what they call remanded to the barracks, like in the Navy, if they don't have a brig in that area, or there's no, like, some bases got Marines and Navy that work together, and the Marines always got a brig, so they can always easily put a Navy person in that brig. If they don't have nothing like that, they got a barracks. So you could be remanded to a actual disciplinary barracks where you got to check in a certain time. You got to do this and do that. Forfeit of pay. They could take um, your pay so many times. Your half a times pay times two. I've seen them do that, and that hurts if you got bills and stuff. Now, there's a way to get out of that, but I'll tell y'all about that way later. But in this case here, he's definitely going to probably get some break time. They might give him a year because he deserted. Not to mention too, if he got the child lewd stuff on his phone, that's really gonna mess him up. They may take him to. It may become a Fed case because it was overseas while he had that possession of that material. So that's international territory. So that might be feds. There's no telling what's gonna happen. But either way it goes, dude's in trouble. Dude should have just went and flown back to Texas. Should have got his 45 days on confinement or break time. Could have been discharged, and it would have been a wrap. He could have started all over again. But now he really done made a fool out of himself. Now his mother says she thinks something happened to him over there, but this dude been a bad character since he been over there. They say he been getting in fights. He been terrorizing villagers. Like, he was not a model soldier. So it seemed like to me this dude was a terrorist from the get go, and mom needs to quit making excuses for him and understand that her son needs to accept responsibility for being a screw up, and she needs to quit upholding him in his wrong and hold him accountable. But we already know how that is around in Blackistan world. Accountability does not exist. It's always blaming on the white man. Anyway, that's all I got for y'all tonight. Please like, share, subscribe, jump in the comment section. Tell me what y'all think about this recent events. Again, please like, share, subscribe. I love y'all guys. Take care of yourself and each other. Y'all know what it is. I'm out.